it is time to put our ethical hacking hat on. The Zed Attack Proxy is a tool, and just like a hammer can be used to build a house or break into one, Zap has no ability to restrict how it is used. The problem with a tool like Zap is that they are built with the best intentions of helping you understand security, but there are people out there turning around and attacking web applications with them. There are many reasons, ranging from corporate spying to defacement to just seeing if they can. What we don't want to do is get caught up in this mix. It is important to note that if you don't have permission to check the security posture of a web application, you are by law restricted from using Zap to attack the vulnerabilities of the website. Are you going to have police at your door for proxying a website through Zap? No, absolutely not. Will you get a cease and desist letter for spidering a website? No. Will your ISP shut you off if a passive scan inside a Zap looks at the header information and alerts you that the page is missing a cross-site scripting protection tag? Absolutely not. But if you think you're being vigilant and testing websites with the sole purpose of notifying the owner of their holes, don't. There's a lot that could go wrong in this scenario. You may break a piece of the site, knock the site offline, get caught up in a coding error that causes an endless loop and basically causes an availability problem. If coded properly, logs and IDS systems will pick up on your activity, and if the owner chooses to pursue it, it can lead to you being investigated for hacking. The Computer Fraud and Abuse Act has been stretched in so many directions to make examples of people. Don't get yourself on that list. If you're not sure, err on the side of caution. Now, we've touched on context before, but I want to dive into this important feature and put some things into perspective for you. Modern websites are rarely the sole work of one company anymore. Pieces and parts made up of scripts, audio, video, code, and even databases come from many sources and are integrated into the web application seamlessly. Let's look at the spider results of Pluralsight.com. As you can see, by simply navigating to the site, I pulled in way more than even I thought I would. A bunch of various Google Analytics links, CDNs, appqueues.net, segment.io. Here is an interesting one. Two links have Pluralsight in the URL, but are actually imgix.net and omtrdc.net. I can't pen test their site because they provide services to Pluralsight. Out of the couple dozen or so links that run off this page here, if this was a Pluralsight engagement, only 6 of them are in scope. Scope is the first thing covered by a pen tester. What is the domain being tested? Do you have the authority to give me permission to test it? And is anything outside of that domain covered in contracts and allowed to be tested by you? Just because my site has YouTube videos embedded doesn't mean I'm allowed to pentest youtube.com. To make what we are going to be doing in this course easier, I'm going to provide you with some virtual machines that are simple to set up and give you full access to deliberately broken web applications. First, you will need a hypervisor to load your image on. Here I provide you a link to download VirtualBox. VMware Player is available. Microsoft Virtual PC is out there, Parallels Desktop, and a couple others. Once you have that installed, we are going to use another program provided by OWASP, BWA. It stands for Broken Web Application. You may or may not have heard of DVWA, WebGoat, BWAP, Security Shepherd, Matilde, and the list goes on. They are all deliberately vulnerable web applications or modules that mock up a specific vulnerability. They are built to help train users on what certain vulnerabilities are and how to spot them. You usually have to go through the steps of installing each one individually in order to play with them. But with BWA, they are all in one place and installed by simply loading the ISO file into the hypervisor and firing it up. Let's walk through this a little bit and I'll show you what I mean. We're starting out this demo at the point where we've already downloaded and installed the hypervisor. In my case, I'm using VirtualBox. I've also already downloaded OWASP BWA OVA file and it is sitting here on my desktop. Now to install it, simply double click on it and a VirtualBox import configuration box will appear. Verify all the settings are the way you want them. One item to address is the name of the VM so you can easily distinguish it from the rest of the virtuals. Here I'm going to name it BWA. Once set, click Import and a small install process will load. It is that simple. By default, BWA comes with a NAT networking installed. Because we're using this as our own internal learning center, and because portions of it are highly vulnerable with known bugs, we don't want the outside being able to see this installation. I like to update the network of the VM to host only. I'm going to click on Settings, Go to the Network tab and change your adapter to host only. And now, only my machine can talk to BWA. So once everything is ready, fire up BWA inside the hypervisor, and a virtual playground for you to train on, Zap, will be ready to go. Literally 2 steps. It's that easy. Once BWA finishes loading, you'll be given an IP address. Simply take that IP, open Chrome, Firefox, or your browser of choice, and BWA will load right up. Keep in mind, at this point, even though I have Zap open, because I have not started my proxy service, nothing is flowing yet. Now the 2 programs we're going to be working with during this series is BWAP and Security Shepherd. To start up BWAP, simply click on the link. Both BWAP and Security Shepherd are module-based training tools. They both focus primarily on the OWASP Top 10 and are good starting points for training the tools like Zap. As you see, nothing has started flowing through Zap yet though. As we start to get into this series of videos, we'll work on how, when we're ready to actually attack, we're going to turn on our proxy service. At this point, because we're not ready to attack, we don't want to turn it on because we don't want stuff flowing that we don't want to necessarily attack yet.